What up, everybody? Welcome to Fore Dads Podcast. Here we are again after an amazing week of sports and golf and just being dads, all new experiences. We hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I personally had a great one. Being a little sentimental here, it was really, really awesome bringing my daughter to my family's house, getting everyone to see it. Like, I'm a first-time dad. Teeds is a first-time dad. For those that are dads, you guys know how amazing it is seeing your family just
like shower with love.
Yeah, just shower your kid with love. It is such an amazing experience. So a lot of you don't know, I'm a big Michigan guy. I live in California. I know people think it's weird, but one of my best friends is a huge fan. I fell in love with the team myself. Also big Niners fan. So, Hardball, it's my boy. But John is also a Ohio State fan. So we're going to open this up with a hot topic. We're going to go into the rivalry of Michigan and Ohio State. So as we all know, Ohio State, respectfully to Teeds, put a whooping on Ohio State this weekend. And what a great game. I mean, I just want to start off and say both teams did awesome. And, this is just me being polite, but both teams did do really well. McCarthy came out and showed off, but holy smokes, I have to tip my hat to Blake Corum. That dude ran
it wasn't him. It wasn't Corum. It was Edwards, like a backup Corum.
We were telling you too, but still, Corum was moving. Corum was pushing for all those yards.
So my only gripe with the game and what I see in a lot of Twitter, I follow a lot of people in Ohio because I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. I got family in Ohio, and that's my way to kind of connect, with fans out there since I'm in California as well. But like everyone was just saying how Ryan Day is just playing scared. We have the best wide receiver core in the nation. Marvin Harrison Jr., who has not dropped a pass all year. And we're running the ball when we're down to our third or fourth string running back who didn't do bad. But like when you're down that way and you have a great passing attack, what are you doing? Why are you not being more aggressive with it? And I guess a lot of people were wondering why we were being so conservative. On the flip side of things, defensively, I thought we held our own for the most part, but I don't understand the philosophy or whatever the play call was. Those two big runs that the halfback had like 75 yards and 80 yards or whatever was the house. Literally, he got past the line of scrimmage and there was nobody. There wasn't a linebacker. There wasn't a safety in his face. You literally look at that and Julio can run 80 yards down the field. There was nobody after the line of scrimmage. That's no offense, this defense to Julio. I'm just saying, like, anybody could have ran that because
there were huge gaps.
Like, it's literally like you're playing. It was literally like something like you were playing a 6-year-old in Madden and he blitzed all out. But for whatever reason, if you can just get past the line of scrimmage, there was literally no one there. I was like, what are we doing? Like, are we like blitzing and we just get everyone comes like there was like, how is there not a safety in defense? Like it's like, I mean, no, like I was watching that. I'm like, okay, like, well, like what's going on here?
Yeah.
Twice. Come on. Like, fool me once. That's on me. Fool me twice. Shame on you,
Yep. No, man, I agree. I mean, those are some pretty big holes that were there. And the fact that he had nothing but end zone, in his sights was shocking. Even I was like, wow. I was like, where did everyone go? I was like, did everyone do their job?
Give up or like what? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
And this was Ohio State's revenge game. This was them to like prove that, last year was a fluke and, they're 9-point favorites. Everybody and their mom picked Ohio State and they just came out like, in my opinion, also they kind of played like they already got paid. The NIL is now a thing, name, image, likeness. And that definitely could have played a factor. When Justin Fields was the quarterback, I think 2, maybe 3 years ago for Ohio State, and they were still like doing well against Michigan.
Yeah.
2 years. He was like, we just care more. We just wanted it more. And now you definitely saw Michigan was on the side there that definitely wanted it more. They wanted it much more than Ohio State, and Ohio State did not deserve it whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I heard was Matt Liner was saying that this was this is the only second time that Michigan has won 2 years in a row since Brady was at Michigan.
I mean, isn't that nuts? Like
That's how long ago was that? That was almost
30 years ago, maybe 20, 30 years ago.
It has to be 20 because Brady's 45.
Yeah.
Has to be,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that has to be about 20, yeah. But still, I was blown away by that fact. I was like,
right?
What? Like, no way. And then all of a sudden I looked up, sure enough, yeah, it's been that long.
Well,
and you're right, it was 20 years.
Well, you know what's even crazier is the fact that, like, you look at the rivalry and, like, the head-to-head matchups, who's won more games. Michigan leads it by, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 games or whatever it is. But, like, you look at literally, like, the last, like, 7 decades, Ohio State has hands down won. Like, every decade. And so it's just – and I saw someone make a meme, and it's like, man, imagine if, like, Michigan didn't have all those wins back in, like, the mid-1800s, or, like, the rivalry would look a little bit different in the sense of wins and losses. Mm-hmm. And it is crazy how there was football that far back, just in general, and that they kept track of all of it. And I don't know, man. I mean, the rivalry is great. It's going to be really
one of the best rivalries in sports, in my opinion.
I mean, it's literally called the game. They literally don't have like the things where it's like the Battle of New York, or they don't have anything. It's literally just the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for college sports, like, I think it's bigger than, the Alabama-Louisiana game, like, just because Bama runs over everyone. You got, Clemson versus who's their big rival?
Is it South Carolina? USC? Yeah. South Carolina?
I think so.
Like Texas, Oklahoma, USC, UCLA.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest one in college football for sure.
Easily.
I mean, that game could easily just be that game could be easily the national championship. I think more people tune into that than they do the national championship most times.
Oh man, I wouldn't be surprised, but like I just find it hard right now to even like put them in the same category as Michigan for the time being. And I don't even think they deserve to be in the top 4.
Yeah. No, I know that. And then now Michigan has to go up against Purdue, which I think is going to just be an absolute blowout. I mean, Syracuse beat them. So it's like,
it's Purdue.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's Purdue. Like, it's like.
I think that's going to be a blow. But I think everyone's talking about if they do beat them, then that means that they're probably going to have to play against Georgia again. And last year they got their butts whooped by Georgia.
Yeah, it'll be well. I don't know because they're number 2 right now, I think. And if they win, no matter what the score, they're going to stay number 2 because there's not another undefeated team. And it would just be insane. Like I saw someone say, like, what if TCU lost, who's number 4, or number 3, I think right now, and what if USC lost in both of their games? That would mean that hypothetically, Ohio State would bump back up to 3, and then it would be a 2 versus 3 in the first playoff game, which is just like kind of ridiculous. And I kind of hope that it wouldn't happen because I mean we had every advantage playing at home and everything. We didn't take advantage of it. Now we'd be playing at a neutral site, so it wouldn't even really have any effect on anything. But that would be nuts if that ended up happening. But yeah, I mean, yeah. What's up?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, no, I agree. Like there's a lot of big rivalries, but and overall, I think that this is by far one of the biggest. I heard something the other day that was a pretty crazy trade in the NFL. I heard that
went through.
Let me see. Hang on a second. I gotta look it up.
I mean, nothing I don't think's happened within the past few. I think the trade deadline already passed.
So there was a report on Bleacher Report stating that Lamar Jackson, is or maybe signing with the Broncos.
So that Lamar Jackson is a cornerback. It's not the same Lamar Jackson.
Okay. So
yeah, no, they literally put it up like that to make it seem like Lamar Jackson's joining Denver Broncos. And everyone's like, what? And it's like, no, it's a cornerback. No, I saw that. I was like, huh? Is there another one? Because I remember what was it? Manning. You remember? Well, LeBron's one of our best friends. Played. He has a family member named Ricky Manning, and he played, I guess, at Edison football. And I remember when the Carolina Panthers went to the Super Bowl, my newspaper the next day said, "Guess which Manning is going to the Super Bowl? It's not the one you think." And it was like him instead of Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
and it was kind of like that whole kind of like they're trying to trick you with like the names but yeah, no, it's not that. I mean, that would be hilarious if Russell Wilson just got dropped. I mean,
did you see that? You see that lineman just get in his face and
I loved it. He was probably like this to him. Let's ride.
Dude, I was looking at his lips. I kind of feel like that's what he said. Like, let's ride, like under his breath, because it was like he didn't say anything else. I have a feeling that that's exactly what he said, because he got all through his face. Then you see Russ just back up, and then all of a sudden he's whoa, and then you see him just kind of be like, yeah, let's ride. Like, dude, come on, bro. I mean, I think we talked about him briefly, but that dude is just such a weird dude, man. I don't know how.
So cringeworthy, man. So cringe. I mean, like the start of this NFL season has probably been one of the worst starts to NFL seasons, because we were forced to watch him play like 5 primetime games, and they scored like a combined like 40 points, and it was just like the Browns could have made a better team, made better games. And I mean, my Browns this week beat the GOAT, Tom Brady, in overtime. That was the most insane game that I had ever watched, because I knew we were losing the whole time because we're playing Tom Brady. And he was literally, he was 218-0, winning with went ahead by 7 points with 2 minutes to go in the game. And
I saw that statistic.
He lost to the Browns, which have the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL. Yeah, who would have called that? You put money on that game, you'd be set for life.
You'd be a billionaire like your Glitch crypto. Yeah. Dude. Speaking of Tom Brady, after the whole incident with like him and Giselle, I was expecting Tom to have an absolutely incredible season. I mean, the guy just deals with adversity so well. I was expecting him just to come out and just dominate. I mean, I'm talking obliterate teams, just make defenses look like crap. But no, he's completely like recessed. And I heard this conspiracy that he was a massive investor into FTX. And I came up with the assumption that I think that he's trying to press because he's put all of his money into it. And now that everyone is like shit out of luck, he's feeling the pressure of trying to get his money back because he's got none now.
Could you imagine like having such a storied career and like something like that where all your money is just gone?
Well, dude, there's a lot of celebrities. There's a lot of celebrities, a lot of professional athletes that are all like under investigation. I mean, him and Steph Curry are by far the biggest names in sports that are being investigated. But also like that guy from Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful, he's being looked at. There's a lot of people that threw in a crap ton of money. And I mean, FTX just kind of blew up out of nowhere. Like they all of a sudden became the Miami Heat arena owner. They were all over the NBA with courtside logos, with the board protector logos, and then in the MLB, all of the umpires had their logos on there. I mean, you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in just marketing investments with sports teams. Not only was like he the youngest billionaire like ever, but they were managing, I believe the number was like somewhere around 50 something $50 billion that they were managing, and it was one girl. It's crazy, dude. It's a crazy story. I've been following it like I've been following it like crazy.
I was looking at I've been watching some of like the Joe Rogan, little tidbits of his podcast, not like the full things, but like little ones on YouTube where they have like 20-minute or 10-minute increments of them.
Yeah.
And they were talking about about the guy, what's his name? Sam? Is that his first name? Sam?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, they're like, the dude does speed all the time. He's literally just high, just doing his stuff. And he's like, yeah, he would be like literally in investor meetings playing League of Legends. like just playing League of Legends and like talking while playing League of Legends or whatever game game that he played. It's just like, imagine like you're talking to these investors trying to have them invest billions of dollars, and you're just happily just playing a video game in the background, just oh yeah, and just being able to do a pitch. And yeah, man, I don't know how this whole it literally came out of nowhere, and everyone's like, wait, was he really even a billionaire? And some people were like, yeah, I think he was a billionaire. I think he had that money. And some people were like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And there were like a lot of politicians that voted against, I think it was like looking into FTX and like checking them out for whether like the SEC or whatever kind of agencies or whatever look into them to see if there's any foul play or any fraud or anything like that. And it's just like, it's really eerie to be like, okay, well, if all these people were into it and they're just like, no, don't look at it, like,
bro, I've told you that since day one. I truly think that like our government is using crypto as a way to launder money. Like for a long time. I mean, dude, think about it. This is completely off subject, but you think about it. Like 2008, the only thing that kept the world market from falling was drugs. I mean, they literally addressed it in what's that show on Netflix where the Ozarks? The kid literally addresses it in school, and it's completely true. If it wasn't for people buying alcohol, if it wasn't for people going on buying weed, coke, meth, fentanyl, whatever, like people getting hurt, the amount of drugs that are being pushed into hospitals now. I mean, both of our wives work in the medical industry. Mm-hmm. Dude, I can't believe how much they push drugs, for everything.
Oh yeah, the amount of money that doctors get for pushing drugs and like using a certain amount is like getting paid out. It's like ridiculous.
I mean, during the labor, they offered ISIS fentanyl right there. They're like, yeah, do you want some? I'm like, no.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of bad things.
Yeah, exactly. There's a banner just off the 101 that says beware of fentanyl. I don't I mean, it's true though, and I think it's the same thing like even right now. I mean, the reason why they you're seeing so many companies starting to invest in it is because there's a lot of dirty money out there.
Well, have you heard of a lot of countries are starting to decriminalize all these drugs? I think Portugal literally decriminalized every drug, and like it's worked, which is even crazier because in my opinion, when something's illegal and you're young enough, you're like, dude, I want to do it because it's illegal, right?
Yeah.
But when underage drinking, when you're in college drinking at 18, 19, 20, with your friends, someone gets beer and they bring it back, and a lot of people have done it, and obviously as long as you're safe with it, you're okay. But like half of it is like you're doing it because it's illegal. Like once I turn 21, getting a beer is not that cool. It's like it's okay, but it's not like that rush that you would get like knowing that you're doing something, like illegal. And once that rush is gone, it's kind of like it's just kind of like, oh yeah, we could do that. That's fine, but like we don't have to,
Yeah.
And it just takes a lot of fun out of it, to be honest,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's really crazy. I mean, getting back into sports, however, I saw this really crazy stat that I was pretty stoked to share. It was a tweet from Lou Stagner. I believe he's a golf stat pro. At least he claims that he is on Twitter. He said, if you have a median distance with your driver of 277 yards, you would hit the ball longer than 98% of all male amateurs. But last year on the PGA Tour, 277-yard distance with a driver would have ranked you dead last.
Wow.
And yeah, I feel like that was just like, okay. I mean, that makes sense because obviously, especially in the PGA Tour, like it's all about distance now. Ever since Bryson bulked up and went crazy on trying to, and won a major with, being bulked up and hitting it 340 or whatever into the hard rough, but only having like 80 yards to hit it out. Everyone, like Rory even admitted that he purposely tried to bulk up and tried to go crazy with his swing to try and do that. And Roy's got the flexibility for it for sure. But it's definitely, you've definitely seen an uptick in that for sure. But I mean, me personally, I'm not someone that tries to kill the ball. As long as I hit it straight and I know how far it's going, I don't care.
I mean, I find that as a very humbling statistic. Like, everyone steps up to, I'm gonna say everyone steps up to the plate / tee box.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I gotta rip this thing. I gotta hit this as hard as I can. But recently, because I haven't been playing golf that much, I've just been going 2-iron. 2-iron off the tee. Controlled. Obviously it's an iron, so I'm hitting an iron off the tee box. My 2-iron is about 270, 275 carry with about 25 yards of roll. And I mean, I don't get it very high, but I mean, it's just a piss missile for me. And I always hit a nice little draw. I don't know how I do it, but it just works.
It's just natural.
It's just natural. And I actually, my last three rounds that I've played, I shaved off about 2 strokes off of each round. So it was like first round, just before the baby was born, like I shot a 74 at Yoshidaihi. The next one after that, went and played with a buddy of mine over at Bodega Bay. Only pulled driver once, hit 2-iron the majority, shot par. Recently just played Just played Karika Park with my dad and my cousin Saturday after Thanksgiving, and shot a 69.
Dang. I mean, and nothing better than using a 2-iron and out driving people that you're playing with a driver and just being like, yeah, well, like it was just a controlled swing, like, and you're just they're trying to go up there and kill you. You're just like the Jordan. We're just like, yeah.
Well, I was like my little cousin. He rips the ball and he plays baseball over at what is that school called? It'll come back to me. But he plays at a school over in Auburn, and William Jessup. There it is. That's the call. So he plays. He's a senior. He's a pitcher there. But he's recently been getting really into golf, and I told him there's a lot of good golf up there by you in Auburn. And yeah, dude, I didn't realize, but kid freaking smokes the ball. I mean, he was hitting his driver, and his bag is nothing spectacular. Like, he has hand-me-downs, right? And he's left-handed, but dude, he hit some drives that were he hit one that was for sure about 360, but the rest of them were about 300, and my 2-iron was like right there. He's like, how are you getting this close to me? He's like, I felt like, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, your ball is super high. Mine is just it's Matt, it's an F-16, man. It's just taking off and it goes. And he's like, yeah, you're probably rolling. I'm like, yeah, but you're carrying that far. I was like, that's impressive. So,
right, that's crazy. The last lefty that I had played with, I haven't played with a lefty in a long time. At least not one that I like purposely played with, like a friend that I know. I got hooked up with I still remember to this day, like light, like what's the term? Is like light as day, or like I remember it like it was yesterday. We got paired up with this like probably 40-year-old man, and we were walking. I think it was right around Thanksgiving last year, and this guy would just hit the crap out of the ball, right? Like he would like very well, like he didn't look like he could play, but like he would just hit the crap out of the ball. And I kid you not, every single swing that he had, he would literally hit the ball and scream at himself in frustration that he effed up. God, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding? Like, every single time. And me and my buddy that I got paired up with literally was like, oh my gosh, like looking at himself like, dude, this guy's serious? Like, he just stroked it like 320 down the fairway. Like, what are you pissed about? every drive was that. And I'm like, what are you mad about, dude? He would literally get so pissed at himself. every putt missed. God, what are you doing? You're horrible. You're so bad. Like, it's like, dude, like, we're playing at Riverside Golf Club, dude. Like, we are not playing on the PGA Tour. Like, what are you? There's no money involved in this game. We're just out here to have a good time. But it was probably one of the most entertaining rounds ever. Just to hear.
I remember this one left-handed guy. I'm not going to say his name just because we still follow each other on social media. He was a member at the club that I worked at. Every time, whenever I'd open up in the morning, he knew that I would be off by like 1 o'clock. He'd ask me to play. Dude, this guy used to down talk himself so much on the golf course. And he was left-handed as well, but he wasn't a bad golfer. You know, he'd get around the course and break 80 and he'd be just fine. Dude, one of the best lines I think I've ever heard him say that has stuck with me to where I'll even say it sometimes too. just to crack up the group, but literally we're on a tough par 3 at Boulder Ridge. It was number 11. It's a 212 yard par 3 downhill, and he chunks his shot accidentally. It goes into the ravine. I mean, it's nothing but all green. You have to carry the number and hit it.
Gotcha.
He shouts at the top of his lungs. He's like, that he was like, that shot's short like my dick, like as loud as he can, bro. And I looked at him and I was like, I don't know whether or not to laugh or pat you on the back and say it's okay, buddy. And dude, he just was dead serious. I mean, he was just like frustrated, threw his club down. We get in the car and like it's just awkward silence after that, because then it's like,
crap, dude.
What are you supposed to say to somebody? Yeah, literally, what are you supposed to say to somebody after that? But going to your point about lefties, I've only played with a handful of lefties total. There's been 2 dudes. This one guy named Connor, I think his name is Jorgensen. I met him out here where I live, and he plays the Skins game on Thursdays at the course that I live on. And dude, this kid played at Chico junior college, played on the golf team. This kid is lights out, bro. Like lights out. I've never seen a dude work the ball the way he does, like Bubba. Natural. Just flings it. He'll aim at someone's house, hit this massive draw all the way around, bangs it 280 down the middle of the fairway, steps up. He'll hit like a cut wedge. He'll be like, yeah, I'm going to land it 10 yards back, comes right back towards the hole. I'm like, how do you do that? He's like,
I'm just going to at Chico Junior College, bro.
Dude, but then he's like, the kid just smokes crazy amounts of weed out there. I mean, he's got his pen, he's got his pipe, and then he sometimes, like during the summertime, he'll have like his edible. And I'm like, Connor, dude, like, how are you able to still come out here and shoot, 72, 68? He shot an incredible 60, 65, one off of the course record over there. And I was like blazed out of his mind. His eyes were like bloodshot red. And I just was like, this is incredible to watch. Like seeing how much you're drinking and all this stuff. It was cool. But
do you remember when we played Riverside maybe like 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago now? Like
I think it was about 4.
It was like 110 degrees outside.
Yes, I do remember that.
So do you remember at the turn, you got everybody tall boys. We ended up like playing with some guy who's single. It was like his birthday, and you got him a tall boy or whatever.
Yeah. Dude,
I hadn't been drinking that much, like leading up into that, like having a beer. And it's not even a beer. It's kind of like 3 or 2.5, of a tall boy.
Yeah.
And dude, I was drunk after drinking that. Like I literally was having like the best round of my life at that time. Best round of my life at the moment. I think I shot like an 83, which at the time was my lowest score. And like from hole 10 to 12, I remember like we were driving with the cart and like we went off road and my beer was like shaking and like hitting everyone. I was like, crap. So like I just took it and just downed it just to like, have it all gone. And dude, I was so glad I brought like 3 jugs of water because I downed water after like the 12th hole. So I'm like, dude, I'm having the best round of my life. I'm not letting this mess up my round right now.
Yeah.
I can't see straight. I need water. It was so, I was like, this is so pathetic, dude. It's just one tall boy.
Yeah.
What the heck?
I just remember after, because it was so hot, like, dude, my car was heating. I was like, I can't even get in. Like, I don't even want to start my car and put on my air conditioner because I'm like, it's just too hot. I'm gonna go sit at the bar. You like took off because I think you and Stephanie had plans. I was like, I'm just gonna go sit in that air conditioned bar for a while.
Dude, I remember you were like, dude, it's supposed to be like 115 today. And I'm like, well, it's a good thing we're playing at 9 and not going to experience that. But yeah, it was still
hot. And it was humid because that course is so wet too. Like, they water that thing down.
Dude, it was nuts. And I remember moving to the Central Valley for the first time, and I literally did not want to play golf ever in the heat because it just scared the crap out of me that I was just going to be uncomfortable. I was going to be hot. I remember playing baseball, growing up, baseball tournaments in Central Valley, standing out in 100 degrees. But
I'll never forget Granite Park, dude. Oh my God, those were the worst. Playing at Fig Garden Elementary for like Babe Ruth, and then going over to Granite Park. It was like during the summertime. I just remember like my mom would like, and that was like right when Nike Dry Fit was coming out too. Like all this sick gear. My mom's like, "Oh, okay. Like, do you really need it?" And I'm like, Mom, it's supposed to like keep me cool. Like it's all the sweat. It keeps me
help me.
Yeah. I'm like, what a false sales gimmick though, because I remember I would take off my jersey and all of a sudden all the sweat was just like white crusted stuff. It literally looked like I like had a good time like before the game or something. It was the worst. I remember just taking off and it was just like kind of like I don't know if Stephanie has this, but like it, like if they're starting to leak their lactation, it's just like this one spot all around, dude. Yeah. It was all over.
Man, yeah, I remember literally like the first like 5 years I lived here, like I did not go outside in summer. Like I was like, screw it. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, you know what? I feel more trapped now than ever that I can't do anything. And the only thing that I can do, and I used to work at a golf shop, I have clubs. I enjoyed golf to an extent. The only thing you can do is go outside and golf because it's outside and you're not limited. And I was like, screw it, dude. I need to do, I was going crazy. And then I was out there, I'm like 105 degrees sometimes at, a driving range. And I'm like, you know what? It's not as bad as I thought. Like it's hot, yes. But once you start sweating, like you're fine. It's just
that Fresno heat is like having a hair dryer just blowing on your face. That's all that it is. And eventually
you're so loose as well. Like, dude, I love playing in the summer now because I can drive it 15 to 20 yards farther easily just because I'm so loose. I don't have to warm up, dude. I just step outside and I'm good to go.
Yeah. Yep, for sure, man.
It's freaking crazy. But I mean, we're coming up to right around the closing parts of the podcast. And if you haven't checked us out on Instagram or Twitter, definitely check us out at Fore Dads Pod. And we also will be obviously posting this on YouTube as well as Spotify, which you're probably checking it out at right now. But before we log off and everything, I made Julio and myself list our top 5 current favorite golfers, and including LIV, PGA. I wanted the list to be, as current as possible per se, in the sense of current golfers, not, like Nicholas and, Arnold and all those old guys that have played back in the day. And yeah, I really am interested in hearing where your top 5 golfers at, and definitely start with 5 and kind of explain your reasoning for each of your favorite golfers.
Yeah. So I'm going to start off with my top 5 LIV Tour players.
You got LIV and you got that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to create another list right now. Okay.
So my top 5 LIV Tour players, current LIV Tour players, Brooks Koepka for sure. I love the competitive nature and kind of the I don't give a shit type of personality he's got. And also the dude is just, I mean, he's just like your typical weekend golfer. Like,
he's the typical bro, dude. He's the frat dude that made it.
Yeah, exactly. He's that dude that was in a frat. He made it, but also it's just like, look, I'm just here to place the best that I can and just walk away with a little extra money. Like, thanks. To him, it's just a big skins game. Literally, I think he's even said that in interviews. My number 2, Phil Mickelson. Like, you cannot, even with some of the things he says, you cannot dislike Phil. Phil is just an overall super cool dude. He doesn't like, even though he's a country club guy, I feel like he goes against like the mold of what a typical country club golfer would be because he's so interactive with everybody around him.
Dude, he's just like the typical dude you want to play with at a course. Like he's just seems like such a chill dude.
Yeah. And I love that he's very outspoken too. My third, Cam Smith, who just won he just won another LIV Tour event this last weekend. The guy just got a solid game. I just enjoy watching him. He doesn't really rip the ball that far, but putting wise, it's incredible to see him make putts. I mean, it's not very often where you see him missing a lot. And even if he does miss, the lag he has it's a give me almost every single time. The other guy that I like is Matt Wolff. Just love his competitive, love his swing, love that the guy is just, I feel like he's like this generation's Ricky Fowler. Like without the loud colors and kind of, look at me all orange on Sunday, but just his personality and the way that he's very vocal. I mean, a lot of these guys all have their own platforms that they talk about. And Matt Wolff is always like, dude, this game is hard enough already. Like, be as positive as you can about it. This one was a tough one because I wasn't sure really who I want to put as my number 5, but I went with Bryson. Only reason being is he brought the long ball back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, other than that, I don't find the guy very interesting. Like, I feel like he just overcomplicates everything. I mean, just the way he speaks about like muscle contraction, muscle growth, muscle development.
He's definitely like the most nerdy guy out there, and he acts like the nerd.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say nerd because,
nerdy as in like he does so much in like figuring little things out, the reasons why things do this. Like,
I think it's just for him, it's an information overload because when you're sitting there talking to somebody, he's not going to talk to you unless you're just as passionate as he is. Like, and when you're out there at a golf event and you have the opportunity to kind of chat with him, he's super cool. But I've seen it just so many times now with like Kyle Berkshire, with the good guys, with Micah, with, all the guys that he plays with, right? When he goes into things, it's like, dude, that is so complicated. Like, how are you able to know all that and then sit there and hit a shot? And then when you don't execute, I feel like he goes into 10 other reasons why it's wrong. And it's like, just play the game.
Right.
You're play the game. So now, top 5 PGA players.
Okay.
This one's a pretty easy. I feel like this is a fan favorite for everyone, but obviously got to bring in Tiger Woods. I know right now, he's far past his prime, but the guy is a competitor. The dude is all about it. I love that he still comes out with the classic red and black every weekend. He's just exciting to watch because you never know what you're going to get from the guy ever. I don't think anyone can ever count him out because he can just turn it on. And I mean, even though he's having issues with his back, he can't walk. He feels like he can't do certain things. It's like the guy, you just never know what you're going to get. You can never really write Tiger off for any event. So you know that he's a threat at every time he's there. Second, Rory. Rory just, to me, Rory's got the most beautiful swing in golf. He's just fun to watch. Super, super exciting dude all the time. Third, I'm going with JT. Justin Thomas is the exact same. Gorgeous swing, just an absolute competitor. Always a fan favorite. The guy is just the guy's just fun to watch. I mean,
Did he make a cut when he was 16?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
PGA Tour event, like, freaking nuts, dude.
yeah. I mean, you just can't be disappointed with watching Justin Thomas. Another one, rookie, Victor Hovland. I think I shared in one of the past one of the past podcasts. I had the opportunity to watch him his rookie year on on tour at the what was that, the U.S. Open in at Pebble, and he was following Tiger, I believe, or playing in the same. No, he was following Tiger, and the kid was lights out at Pebble Beach. Kid was lights out. He was playing an incredible round. He had incredible rounds for 2 days. It was so exciting to watch him. My number 5, which I feel like this is kind of disrespectful to put him this low, but Jordan Spieth. Like, the guy's amazing. I love that guy.
He's
love
a good dude all around. Just a genuinely
super good dude. So,
yeah. Solid list all around. Solid list. I had to scramble to put a LIV one together, kind of combine them. But so I'll start from 5 and go to 1, and we'll start with a LIV on my end. Number 5 for me is Bryson DeChambeau. I've always rooted for him ever since I moved to Fresno. Him being local kid, in the golf shop that I worked at, before he got all big time, moved to Dallas, he would get all of his clubs re-gripped and everything at the golf shop that I worked at. Never legitimately met him. About a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or 2 ago, he was at Dragonfly Golf Course, which I live somewhat across the street of, and that's his home course that he considers, or at least Dragonfly considers it, because his golf coach, his high school or his childhood golf coach, still, does lessons and stuff there. And I yelled at him because he was coming at. I was at the driving range with some buddies, and I was like, "Dude, that's Bryson. He's gonna go play around." And the driving range is right next to the 10th hole, and I was like, "Hey, Bryson, you got to get Bob Does Sports out here. You got to come out and play the way back tees." Yeah. And he goes, "Yeah, thanks." And I was like, "Oh man, that was so well done, dude. You really made yourself look like the dude right there." But at Dragonfly, they have like over 8. They have like the longest course in California. It's like over 8,000 yards. It's nuts. I'd love to do that video with you eventually if we ever get a chance for that.
You let me know the time and
one day. But anyway, dude, I would love to. We can plan that offline, and we could definitely test that. It'd be such a fun time. So I got the GoPro, and I got everything all set up. Bubba, I love Bubba Watson. Big Bubba Watson fan. Always rooted for him. Great dude. Great family guy. Crazy story sad and crazy story with his wife. But beating breast cancer. Using that pink driver that everyone is so accustomed to seeing. Like me, I'm a Christian, and he's a Christian dude, and he preaches it outward as well. He's not really just, no one really knows it about him. Like, he's an outward Christian dude, which I like. Matthew Wolff is my number 3. I loved watching him when he first came up, dude. That wacky swing that he has, that little baseball kind of wiggle swing, and you watch that thing in slow motion, and like his head does not move. Like it's like, who was it? Country Club Adjacent was like, what's his name? Jim Furyk ran so you could walk, or because of those wacky swings that are really similar. It's one of like those back off challenge things that they had. And I was like, oh, that was freaking hilarious. But just a good dude as well. And he can hit the crap out of the ball too. He's got some power with that whip. Number 2 for me, Cam Smith. Ever since he got that, that mullet going with that dirty stash, just it's been fun to watch. Great swing, great tempo, excellent golfer, obviously, and just a big fan of his. Was kind of pulling for him and Scotty in the Masters last year when it came down to that final group. But I just, anyone with a mullet, dude, you got me. Like in your professional sports, not just a dude, but like someone in professional sports, literally out there with your face, like, and that's your go-to. Like, he's probably never gonna get rid of that mullet because of how successful he's been with that. But yeah, number 1 for me is probably gonna be Pat Perez. Probably a wild card there, but I've been following him ever since the Chive back in college was a thing before, like Barstool and all that. And he randomly, I think, put on the Chive logo on his golf bag one weekend, and people at Chive were like, "Are we sponsoring Pat Perez?" And like, no, dude, he just likes the chive and just put that logo on his bag and free advertising. And he's just just seems like a cool dude. Watched a few of his YouTube videos that he's done with like Barstool with like a little scramble, and just all he cares about is drinking and having fun, just having a good time. And he's one of the only ones who admitted that he joined LIV for the money, which everybody has joined LIV for the money. I mean, come on, let's be honest there. And I like that honesty. But yeah, I mean, going into my top 5 current, PGA golfers, number 5 for me, Will Zalatoris. He's got such a smooth swing. The dude is such a twig.
That's the guy I left off on my list. I didn't even think about him. That's a good one.
Yeah, he is such a twig, man. And I mean, the fact that he was Happy Gilmore's caddy back in the day, and now he's just like living out the childhood dream. It's just awesome to see it come full circle, But I mean, he's a good dude as well, I mean, great swing, came up in the Masters that was years back with Matsuyama. And he's a FootJoy Titleist guy, just like me. And he's got some humor, he definitely, enjoys the back and forth about the whole Happy Gilmore thing, which I don't know how I would take it if I was in that situation. I might be a little offended, but he runs with it. And I don't know if you've heard his Owen Wilson impression. Have you ever heard that before? He just says, wow. He just goes, wow. But the way that he says it, it literally sounds exactly like Owen Wilson, and it's hilarious. It's such a simple thing that you'd be like, kind of sounds kind of lame, but like you listen to it and it's actually pretty hilarious. Number 4, you mentioned him. I think he's number 4 for you. Victor Hovland.
Yeah.
Back during the pandemic, there was no sports for like 3 to 4 months, like literally no sports. They stopped everything, and so everyone was scrambling, watching old NFL games, old golf tournaments, old World Series games, NBA Final, just something, or just playing video games themselves, trying to get that fix in. And for me, I started watching some of the U.S. Amateur Championships that were hosted. They're always on TV on the Golf Channel. And Victor Hovland, I was watching one of his when he played for Oklahoma State, and that's when he won it at Pebble Beach. And probably why he did so well at Pebble Beach for the U.S. Open, even though, of course, they make the conditions a lot more difficult at Pebble. I mean, he was successful at Pebble. He just got a great swing. He seems like a cool dude to just have a beer with as well. And honestly, in my opinion, he always looks stoned. I don't know why, but his laugh with his eyes, he always just looks stoned. And I don't know if you can answer this, but like they always say like he's from Norway, but like when did he leave Norway? Because he has no accent at all. Like, did he leave when he was like 2? Because like there is no accent to him at all. And I looked up like he sounds like he's from the United States. Do you have any idea on any information on that?
I have not a clue.
Yeah, neither do I. I mean, I'm just like, well, cool, okay. I was just curious. Number 3 for me right now is Scotty Scheffler. Good dude, very humble dude, very, very humble. I think he won the Masters, and he said he just went home for that next week, took the next week off, and just put a lot of mulch around his yard, and worked on his gardening. Not too many men will admit that nowadays, even if they are interested in that. But I mean, he's got a pretty interesting swing as well. Not as conventional. That back foot comes out, does things a little bit differently, but it works. And I definitely enjoy watching him play. Number 2 for me is Max Homa. Just his social media content. The dude's hilarious. He's just like, he roasts people's golf swings. Hey Max, what do you think of my swing? I'm not even going to say things that he would say because I probably butcher it so badly, but he is just so witty. He's been on Barstool with like a scramble. He's been on Bob Does Sports now with a scramble, and just seems like a fun guy to be around. A great golfer now. I think he's definitely top 10. He's definitely creeped up the rankings recently, and he's also a new dad, which is awesome. Just had a son. So he's going through he's going through what we're going through, a little bit behind the curve, but it's just really cool to see him be successful, because he seems like a people person, someone that just wants to be there for the people, give them a show. And number 1 for me currently is Patrick Cantlay. I love his swing. I literally try, and if you watch any of my YouTube videos of my golf swing currently, it's around his golf. I'm not gonna be able to emulate it, but like it just looks so fluid. It looks so smooth, and the fact that I never even heard of the guy until he came out of nowhere to win. What did he was it the PGA Championship like 2 years ago? Literally, or the FedEx Cup playoffs or whatever it is. Literally, just came out of nowhere, and I think it was because he had like a crazy back injury that kept him out for like a year or something like that. He played at UCLA, but one of the few guys to play without a hat when he's not, playing on an actual golf tournament. But I obsessed with watching his swim. But that's my top 5 for now, and yeah, I mean, it's always changing. It's always fun to see the new golfers that are coming out. But I'm really looking forward to this year in the PGA Tour, to see who sticks out. And if Scotty can actually hang in there for a PGA Tour season instead of letting Rory come out of nowhere after, what was it, a quadruple bogey in the first hole and then freaking wins the tournament. Like,
hey,
insane.
That happens, man. Happens to all of us. So to your question about Victor Hovland, I just looked it up. It looks like he might have moved to America around when he was 11. I guess his dad worked in the golf industry. So he moved over here with dad and began playing golf. And it looks like he watched a lot of old American movies to kind of learn how to speak English. Kind of like John Rahm going to ASU and listening to rap music to learn how to speak English. So
hey, that's awesome. Okay, well, thanks for looking that up. I appreciate that. But I think that'll do it for an episode of Fore Dads Podcast. We're over 50 minutes. I think this is probably our longest one that we've had so far. I didn't think that our top 5 list would go that long, but hey, I enjoyed talking about them and going over our list currently. If you guys have gotten this far, which it's probably going to be 1 or 2 of you at this point, don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Fore Dads Pod. We're also at Fore Dads Pod on YouTube, dropping some shorts, some reels, and things like that. Little tidbits of our podcast, just in case you haven't heard of us, which is probably a lot of people. But hey, we're here just doing it for a good time, just talking sports, hanging out, just dudes being dudes. But again, thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully we'll see you next week.